Welcome back to Wallflowers. So today we're having a bit of a basic tidy round. We've been bringing in some of the produce we're finding that's ready to use. It's been great, it's been a lovely little day so far, but we've got quite a while to go. So the last few weeks my husband and I haven't been able to get out in the garden and take our harvest and keep the garden the way that we'd like to keep it normally, so it's catch up time for us at the minute. So what I've done is I've done a little volunteer, what I call a volunteer potato bed. I've harvested that this morning, took all the spuds out, and it's lovely. We've got some lovely red ones, some white ones. You know, I don't even know what type they are. I think the Courgette is the red ones, but I'm not too sure. So at the moment, I've come to try and sort this lettuce out. So as you can see, it's all completely shot. Looks like the flowers are coming now to give us the seeds, but I'm not actually going to wait that long. What I've decided to do, I've picked the wrong secateurs up. I'll get me back up in a minute. What I've decided to do is these bits of lettuce that are actually on here, I'm not going to waste any of them. So I'm going to cut them back. So let me just give you an example of one of these. I'm just gonna, I don't know if the camera can come in enough, but I'm actually just gonna leave a couple of inches at the bottom, saw through with a trusty bread knife, and then I'm gonna take these stems off. So obviously some of it's to waste and whatever, but there's some delicious, nice, healthy bits in between. And basically I'm gonna save all of those. And when I've individually taken them off, washed them, patted them dry, I'm actually going to place them as whole as I can in the dehydrator and dehydrate them. I believe it should take something like 8 to 10 hours to do that where they're ready. So they'd be crunchy, but they're ready to dry. Then I will store in glass jars and use them basically. I'm going to test how good they would actually be just for a sandwich with a bit of meat, see if I can actually get it to that quality. If not, because you can rehydrate them from anywhere from 8 minutes to 30 minutes from the dehydrated stage to rehydration stage. 8 to 30 minutes in freezing cold water. The lettuce basically absorbs all the water and comes back. Now I'd like to think that is great, but some things take me a while to actually get there. So what I'm actually going to do with this lot, I will try that experiment, but the rest of it will be powdered down and will be kept in like a herb jar, so it will just be like greens, and I can add that to soups, stews, you know, anything I choose to. We don't do smoothies in this house, we don't do those types of things, but we do like a good hearty meal, so you know there'll be plenty of those occasions to add that to. So as I say, I'm literally just going to leave a couple of inches on the stalk when I can get through it. I think that was 2 together, and I'm going to take them all off. Now when I originally started to research for this today, I didn't actually come across anything that said red leaf lettuce or purple leaf lettuce, and I was getting a bit worried I couldn't do it. But when I just generically searched for lettuce dehydration, etc., it did come up that, you know, both are viable for it, so I'm quite looking forward to this. You know, it's such a shame we've left it. You know, we haven't eaten as much salad as we normally do. My husband and I, normally it's salad every day, regardless of what we eat, we have that bowl of salad with it. And for some reason, you know, we've had a few, but nowhere near as many as we normally have. I just don't know why it just hasn't happened this year, you know. So a lot of this would go to waste if I don't salvage this now, so that's what I intend to do. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll plod on. So what I'll do now is I'll work my way through all this, get my pile all together. What I'm doing here Pick through what's salvageable, deal with that, wash it, process it, and get it ready for the dehydrator. And then I'll show you another section of the garden that we're looking at today. Okay, so I've cleared what I wanted to of the lettuce, and I've left some of these woody stems. Now, in a week or so I will trim them down again, and hopefully they'll continue to be cut and come again lettuces. So it's an experiment. I've done it with other things, so I'm going to see how that fares with the colder weather. And we'll use that as an experiment. So the next stage of this bed now, the other half of it, I mean, I know some of this is still a bit messy, but there's things that I just want to leave to grow. I've discovered a couple of onions coming through with a red one under here. And we'll just take it from there. There are leaks in between and different things, so that's a work in progress. So I'm up to the chives now. I always get plenty of chives, so all I do is the same process. I'll just take off, leave a couple of inches on the side, and whilst I'm actually out here in the garden I will actually just chop them up. I include quite a few of the heads, and I'll leave some of the head stems on, so that will be seed naturally germinating, but as I'm leaving the trunk of the plant, I've actually got the plant there anyway. Again, it's cut and come again. So that's the type of process I'm trying to follow. Make life easier for you each year, and you just have to put the new stuff in that you want. Look after what you've got, because a lot of it will just keep coming and coming. The basics, you know, you don't need to run out and buy tons and tons of onions, because you can actually crop these. I think it's about 3 times a year I'd say I crop them, and I literally do this process over and over again. Give them a wash, let them drain thoroughly, and then I tend to freeze them in Ziploc bags. So I think I might have mentioned earlier, I'm not sure if I did or not at this stage, but I've got a couple of, I don't know if you can see it just next to the polytunnel there, I've got a couple of sage plants around the garden, and as I say, absolutely tons of these spring onions. So getting into the dehydrator more and more, I want to dehydrate the, chives. They are, I keep calling them spring onions, but there's not necessarily a great deal of difference between them all. So sage and onion I want to do, and use these chives, my own sage, and that will be fabulous. So I'm going to be looking at sage and onion stuffing and sage and onion anything I can do, even if I just dry the two of them together and have them in a storage jar for if and when, you know. That'll be great, because there's that many of them. I just don't want to waste it. So we're having them on sandwiches and omelettes and meals, you name it, but they're getting used. And you can just pick and choose what you want in it and what you don't want in it as you go along. Weed them as you go along. Just be careful of any brown bits, whatever. And this process can take a while, you know. I think all that is an hour's worth already of just cutting them up, you know. Yeah, I do chat, yeah, I do take me time, but I'm enjoying it, you know. This is what we do. We pay all this expensive for entertainment, and this is entertainment, spirituality, health, providing food for yourself, all of the above, all in one. It's beautiful. So again, I'm going to work myself through this, and then I'll show you what else I'm doing in the garden. So in this section I'm taking a look at the cabbages. They're probably the best I've ever done, and other people will look and say they're terrible, but I'm quite happy with them, you know. There's a lot of yellowing leaves. I've had them covered with netting from a trampoline, black stuff. Very fine, nothing can get in them, but as you can see they're still being eaten, so I'm not too sure what else I can do. I'm tempted to cross over and use fleecing from this point, but I can't see as that netting's preventing any light from getting in. It's just these buzzards are still getting in and eating the food. So I'm going to cut you out today and try and release the space so the light can get in amongst it. So I'm going to take this one. If it'll let me. So, yeah, they're not massive. Strip the bottom leaves back. The bulb isn't massive either. But when I cut the edges off, I'm going to get a nice substantial meal from that. So I'm quite happy with that. And I think I'm just going to take some leaves off behind, just to make sure I'm helping the light get in. I don't know if you can see, but I've got some red cabbages, I think they are, in between. Do you know, I can't remember. I don't know whether they're going to be, I think they're going to be a red cabbage, if not a kale, but it looks like a cabbage leaf to me anyway. So I've got those coming in between, and I just quickly did a count. I think I've got about 5, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yep, 5 what I'm calling red cabbages at this point. And I think the second one I'm going to take out is this one. Release some light in the middle. So again, a bit battered, a bit bewildered. Or I should be able to salvage some of that. And it allows the light in. Certain bits. I'm not sure, Mr. Wallflower, should I take that one out as well? Or the corner one?
That one.
That one? That one's not too battered. Again, not much of a centre, but as you can see, plenty of leaves on it. So I can cook them off and then concentrate on what we've got in between. So I planted these really, I think it was November last year. We put them out trial and error really, because as I've told you many times before, if you look at the depth of these beds, you know, it's a single divan bed. It's not even half filled and it's sat on a concrete base. Now, they're the problems that I'm trying to overcome, and you know, personally I feel I'm not doing too bad in that depth, you know. I've got what, 3 cabbages, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cabbages there, green cabbages, and as I said, 5 red cabbages in the depth of half a bed. So, you know, and in it is basically just the waste I would throw away, all the organic waste from the house, papers, cardboard, and topped up with just more than a skimming really of soil and compost. So as I say, that does need topping up, and I'll work on that each year. When these all finally come out, I'll top it up with more organic waste, and again I'll do the same layer of compost and soil on top, so hopefully we've got a full bed coming. And as I'm using these vegetables, the waste from the vegetables is going back in the compost bin and is creating the next pile itself. So, you know, it's cut and come again in a different style, you know, that's how I'm using it. So I just like that approach, you know. The more you feed something and you don't take everything, you leave some of it, you come back, it's still there, there's plenty to use the next time. So it's models of life, isn't it? You learn them in the garden, you learn them in many places, but yeah. So this one's looking beautiful. A couple of them are looking beautiful, not an insect bite in here. A couple of dots on them off the leaves and trees, but I'm absolutely chuffed with this, and I hope they can only get better each year. So soon I think I'm actually going to sow more cabbages, and as I say, if I can get them out around the November time, I'll be in the same position again next year, so that'll be great for me. So yeah, I'll quickly think of another section to show you in the garden, and where we're taking our food from at the moment. On this section of the garden, as I say, same basis of the last bed I told you, literally half full. I don't think it even comes up to there. This one has been what we call a voluntary bed. So we had put a couple of things in, believe it or not, it's kale, chewed up and is acting like a sacrifice plant, so we're just leaving that there for that. I've just realised I should have probably done that with the most bitten cabbage and left that as a sacrifice one, but I didn't think, so I've took it now. So as I say, earlier today I was just started pulling some woody bits out, you know, they were actually the trunks of the potatoes, I realised, of their leaves. So I sat and pondered, and then I come back out with the trowel, just started scraping the surface, and in amongst it there's all these lovely volunteer potatoes. Now the reason I'm calling them volunteers is two things. One's going back to how we do the soil. It's all kitchen waste, garden waste, anything organic that we can use in these beds. And a lot of it will be potato peelings, veg peelings, etc. So the eyes and the potato peelings themselves are creating the little balls. They're actually much smaller than that, and then the following year that's what you get from it, you know, and if you leave that, the following year you get the big one if they haven't rotted away. Or it's a cycle, it's a process. So what we tend to do is when we dig up these little ones, we throw them back. Some of them we keep. What I normally do is a judge, so if it's just the same size as my thumbnail, which my nails aren't long, it can be one or two things. If I'm planning to make a stew or a soup, they can actually go in the soup or the stew. If I'm not, and they're going to sit there for a while waiting for me to think about something, they'll just go back in, and anything smaller than that will go back in the ground. They'll be what I call opportunity, you know, volunteer potatoes, and that's what this bed is. So it's had a few chuck back, not many. Most of it actually come from the soil. And the nice little bounty we got, you know, there's a few not so great, there's a bit of green on, but I'd say, I wouldn't even say a few. So that's one I've picked out of two. That's three yet, so I was right, few. I recall on the way that there was a few with a bit of green in, but the rest are all perfectly fine. Me and my husband will enjoy eating every single one of them, you know. They'll get us a free meal, a love meal, because we've grown it, you know. Look, I can even see a little one there already. It's not being buried enough, but that can go back in for the next season. So what we've done, I'm just going to pop them back in there and get rid of them when I go in. What we've done, as I always do, it's an experiment, you know. I say, soon there might not be much in the shops, and you know, we might have to go on rations much more than any of us have ever done before. And these, you know, you might only think, oh God, all that fuss for them few potatoes. That few potatoes will feed me in for a week, 2 weeks, you know what I mean? We don't have potatoes every day, but we'll have ample out of that for the next 2 weeks. So we do these little experiments to try and teach ourselves how to improve each time. And one of them is this wheelie bin. So same process as we always do. Organic waste at the bottom. I think this has had a little bit more soil or compost than what we'd normally do in an experiment, but I'm not sure. I'll be able to tell more when we empty it out. I can't lift at the moment, so I'm just going to take the camera and let Mr. Wallflowers do it. So come round the other side. Oh, feel nice if I knew how to hold the camera. Sorry about that, folks. So here we go. See if you can tilt it. And we're just going to go into the potato bed itself. I'm hoping you can see this because I'm in direct sunlight. So. Thank you. Do you want me to knock it out? So this is the first two that you took off the top. That one, how is it going? I'm literally just going to put them on this table. Let me see. Where the scoop was. That looks a bit in there to put my hands straight in. Oh. Sod it. Thank you, Mr. Wall. Oh, we're getting some steaks, don't we? I'm just going to keep bobbing up and putting these on the table. As you'll see the little ones there, I'm just going to leave them in. Not doing too bad so far. I think it was about half of that wheelie bin as well, was it?
Mm-hmm.
You can see that's the organic waste all in it. The food. Digging for treasure. These on the table again. Let the babies grow another day. You think I will stop it now? Crisp packets and everything still lashed in. Right. Add that one as well. And I think that's what we did. I'm absolutely melting in this weather. See, that one's a bit. Right, so this is the bounty from half a bin of this. So, as I say, excuse me, I'm absolutely melting. Let's top that bed up a little bit more. And just everything that's in there is going to stay in there. Just make sure all the little tiny potatoes are covered. I'll work out if there's anything else I can put in with them. So on to the next bed. In the same depth, you know, not even half a bed full. on a concrete base. A few days ago I dug up all this garlic. Now it was all shop bought garlic initially. No, it wasn't, sorry. I bought garlic from the Food Initiative, and it was from a farm actually. And they were quite dry, but they were large. So I took advantage and got 2 lots and filled the bed. You know what it's like when you're a gardener, when you get the urge to dig up and have a look, and you want to dig that bouncy up. It doesn't matter what it is, it won't stop you. You want to get up there and you want to dig it up. The urge is just so strong. So a few days ago I dug these all up. Now they're not a great size, but each one of those gives me 8 to 10 cloves, some possibly more. And I will fill this bed with garlic right up to butternut squash, and they will be next year's supply of garlic, so hopefully they should be alright come spring, and I can pull them up and they'll be nice big heads. So that's the plan. So I've got plenty of there. As I say, it's already homegrown, and the intention is for them to go back in. These are a couple of leeks that I shop bought, but I ate them and I replanted the bases of them. So we've had quite a few of them, but the last 2, as I say, this bed will get weeded and it will be completely full of garlic. Here we have a butternut squash. Now I've never grown one of them before, and I keep getting excited when I get a flower on it, you know, such as that one, and then they drop off. So I know we've had a drought on and it's been really dry, but I'm thinking now it's possibly too late in the day once the weather changes and that will go cooler, and possibly I mightn't get any fruit on them. So I am really enjoying the flowers on them and the self-achievement of actually being able to get that far. So I need to look at them a bit more next year, a bit of a concerted effort how to actually grow a squash, a butternut squash in particular. Yeah, so that's homework for me, just going to have a little think of something else I want to show you. Courgette's would be a good place. So, courgettes. I've just picked these 2 today. My intention for these 2 is chocolate cake, ready for the weekend. So I was waiting for my courgettes for an awful long time. They didn't seem to be producing, so I started buying them again from the shop and cooking with them and doing different things. And then all of a sudden they come through with a vengeance. Does anyone know who grows them? They just suddenly start coming through. So we've been creative. I've made cakes with them. We put them in different things, but one I made last week, basically called Courgette Lasagna. I think I made a video about it, I'm not sure. And I did courgette layers with peppers, some chopped up sausage, and a chicken oxo gravy. And created a bake with a bit of cheese on top, and it was delicious. You know, don't let these vegetables go to waste. Like, you know, they are actually delicious and they're good for you. So I've only got 3 courgette plants. I say only, that's quite a lot really. As I say, I've cut one off this one today, and I've got a couple more coming through. I've got a few of these tomato plants and they still haven't produced. Some peppers in, you know, and I haven't had a fruit this year of my peppers, but the buds are there and they get so far and they drop off. So I'm yet to have a pepper. We're getting the frequent courgettes, and again these chives are ready for me to cut and process like I showed you earlier. So I'll at least get 1 whole bag from these for the freezer. So, you know, to me that's probably a month's worth of chives using nearly every day. So, you know, I can't beat that at all. Just at the rear of this bed is the white grape, the black grape. Again, I don't think it's feasible to keep it in this space. I think I have to actually plant the root outside and bring it under the polytunnel so I can grow it up. Excuse me. So I can grow it up inside, so it can hang over the bars, etc. It's still alive, it's doing well. It was a £5 Asda plant. It's its first year, so I'm quite happy with it really. So I say I will have to move the root ball to the outside. More peppers and stuff, excuse me. In this bed it's another courgette again. Massive courgette, this one's a huge one. I've took one off this today, and then we're letting the marrow grow. We want to see how large it gets. We want to create something nice with that. I'm going to do roasted marrow with couscous, probably some gammon and some other bits inside it, wrap it up and bake it. So we're looking forward to that. We want to see how big it can get. I've got the white grape running up the back, and again that root ball is going to have to be planted on the outside, and we'll have the black coming one end and the white coming the other end. We'll have the grapes hanging, should all be successful. At the back here is all the kale. The kale looks lovely and it's getting stronger and stronger. I had tomatoes in this bed last year and it was a disaster. I'm really quite happy, you know, with what it's produced. I probably could have got a lot more in it, but I was nervous putting stuff in it really. So as I say, there's quite a bit of kale in there, so that'll take us through the winter and get more and more of these courgettes before it runs out. Grapes will be for next year. We've had quite a few of the blueberries off. The last bunch I put with damsons and made blueberry and damson jam. I think that's where we're up to in here. I'm due to plant, about to sow onion seeds, and to put more onions out. I'd like to put some leeks out. So it's time to tidy up everywhere. You know, see what we can get in and carry the season on as long as you can. Really. We have a look at the raspberries. I've done a picking today, so there's only like old fruit on them, or I have a look through here. I have to bend through to get to this one. Yeah. So I have a piece of mirroring at the back. It's shattered to buggery now, but it does for the sun and reflective time, especially in the darker winter. But these raspberries are mostly autumn raspberries. As I say, I've had a good picking today, but they are beautiful. Just going to be taking that one while I'm here. My hands are on. Delicious. More than the flavour it puts initially in your mouth is the nice lingering taste it leaves afterwards. Beautiful. So yeah, they're spreading and spreading and producing more. I think I'm going to have to put some support in at some stage, keep them all up. And I have to watch because they trip out, you know, they're like walking onions. They'll walk across your garden and wherever, you know. I took a couple of carrots from here today. I only need a couple for tea, but there are some more to come up. You know, not many, they're sparse, but they're there, you know. We did have some shop bought carrots and we'd left them for 2 days, and I went to try and get them today to start the meal. It's like a rubber hammer, you know, absolutely useless. You know. So whilst we're this, then we might as well look at the sweet corn. Yeah, they're struggling with the lack of rain, and they're just coming away from the stem now, so it feels as if they're getting heavy or they're just wilting. So I'm gonna have to give a decent washing today because I can't see in these temperatures that the rain's gonna come. The hole got bigger and bigger where the bees were living. They were called minor bees. Got bigger and bigger underneath. And we haven't seen them for quite a while, so I don't know what the natural habitat is or what happens next, but I don't know if they'll return to that hole next year or what happens, but I'm not covering it up, I'm just leaving it the way it is. Yeah, the sunflowers are drooping slightly because of the water, lack of water again, but the size of them, you can see the raspberry spillage. I told Mr. Wallflower to come out earlier, you know, and lo and behold, what did I do? I dropped the bowl. So that was my spoilage, so we'll leave that there for the birds. But yeah, this is how we're coming along. So I'll just bob out. Let Mr. Wallflowers follow me under the apple tree. Today I picked some of the, I call them English marigolds. I know everyone else calls them cannula, but I read a long time ago that the marigold leaves, these ones, can be used in place of saffron in cooking food, etc. So, you know, sometimes we might put a bit of paprika or a bit of turmeric in the rice when we're boiling it, if we're making a rice meal. You can actually put your English marigold petals in as well. You know, don't boil them completely, wait till your rice is mostly cooked, and then you'll have that golden saffron kind of look to your rice. It's absolutely beautiful. Got some lovely mint here going to flour, and I've actually got, that's normal garden mint, so that's the I've got another recipe and I can't think what I was going to put the mint with, but that'll come to me in a minute. The sage, as I showed you earlier, is just a couple of plantings of this. I think I forgot to show you another one inside the poly. So I think that needs to be split at one point or something. I don't know if it all comes from the one piece, but it needs more space. So the herbs are trickling. You know, they are trickling, but they're trying our best. This is the herb bed that was said. It went absolutely crazy. I believe this one's cilantro. We're not too sure what to do with those flavours, and what I've tried so far isn't working for us really. I'm not sure if this is dill, and if I can use the seeds in some way, so that's something I'm going to research before I chop it down. And we've had a few different other little bits in there. So all of it needs tidying. Those chives will come out, and as I said, they'll be bagged and frozen. The heads and the flower pods, all of it together. And there's a purple sprout and broccoli just coming back from last year, cut and come again kind of thing. And there should be a few of them dotted around. The beetroot I didn't touch for a while. I didn't get round to it. Not beetroot, rhubarb. Didn't get round to it. Normally I'd make a lot of cordial, but my son found work and was busy the majority of the time and never asked me for it, so it didn't get done. So it will have to be cut back eventually. But yeah, things are plodding on. The next succession of potatoes are starting to grow again. We've got buckets of potatoes behind the polytunnel. You know, they've died back now and they're ready for us to pick, so that's what we're doing now, gradually working through what needs to be picked straight away and what we can get ready for the next season. These onions weren't spaced out enough most probably, you know, but some of them will get us some good meals. Some of them are a good size, some of them are too small, that looks rotted off, but you know, when I come to pick them, I'll look at them all on an individual basis and deal with them then. I looked at this one recently, and this is called pineapple weed. And when you crush it, it smells like pineapples. Between your thumb and fourth finger, people make tinctures out of these and make pineapple weed tea, etc. So if you get things regularly growing in your garden and you're pulling it out as a constant weed, you know, what harm is it to find out what it is and if it has a use and if you can use it. So that's one of those things. So I haven't pulled that yet, and I'm going to have a look, see what the taste tastes like, see if it does taste like pineapple, see if there's, you know, any benefits from it. But yeah, all this needs cutting back. These seeds are just prolific, you know, but keep throwing them down the bottom garden, keep letting them blow in the air to wherever they want to land. If it's not convenient, I can pull it out, but most of the time they just look, sometimes they look messy like that when they put the heads on, but most of the time it's quite nice and cheerful to see them, you know. Nice bright colour. This is a bit of a state at the moment, but I hide my compost bin a little bit. Bit of cosmos, but yeah. I'm just trying to think what else. I'm taking tomatoes every day. I've took quite a few of the pears. Lost nearly all the apples. There's like an apple graveyard down there where they've all decayed and fell off, and I literally haven't been to pick it all up, but I lost all the fruit on my apple this year. So something I need to look at. I picked up 2 hay bales locally at the local free site. When I'm ready, then I'm going to put all between all the potatoes and anything that I think might need a bit of protection soon through the winter. Just give them a bit of a bed of the hay. Just going free. Might as well take advantage and see how it can help. I mean, last year it covered the potatoes great, you know, and they went through the winter and they were fine when we pulled them up. So, you know, a lot of people will say, don't grow your potatoes outside in the winter. I do plan to try and do some in tubs in the poly, but experiments are experiments and we will continue to do them. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed the little tour today. Tell me what you think in the comments, and I'll see you soon. Bye.